Welcome to Tsukumomono Groceries. We've got or perhaps there's so you're friends of Kurosawa, I take.
Whoa! Let's not get ahead of ourselves. How did Kurosawa end up owing you so much money?
Let me think. Kurosawa would come regularly to purchase large quantities of foodstuffs. However, the price of provisions began to skyrocket recently, and his salary was no longer enough to cover the cost. So, he started
So that's how he was getting. But why did he have to purchase a usual amount? If the prices increased, couldn't he just buy less?
Well, if you think about it, the citizens receiving the emergency provisions must have been carefully calculating how much they needed. Kurosawa thought that it would be quite the disappointment for them if they found they didn't have enough, especially after such long and careful planning. So he deemed it necessary to take on the debt rather than let the people down.
Wow. Kurosawa, no one ever appreciated what he did.
People's attitudes will always reflect their circumstances. In the face of hardship, if you ask me, had Kurosawa told everyone the truth about the supplies from the start, then there wouldn't be such a severe Of course, I'm sure there would still have been some unrest. What he was doing was truly a thankless deed. As for why he chose to spend his own money on emergency provisions and never tell, if you're still curious, why don't you go ask him yourself? I see. That most unfortunate. If he doesn't clear the debt on his name, he'll have no choice but to sell the
sword?
Oh, didn't he tell you? He possesses a very valuable I've asked him about its origins. He told me that it was a gift from his father, that it was too precious to... In hindsight, I regret that I never made an offer on it. Everything has its price, at least that's what I think. Why don't you ask him about the sword yourself? Perhaps it'll even provide you with the answer. Oh, but before you go...
But we didn't...
Information is also... Don't worry. I won't charge much for information about Kurosawa. Nothing we ever discussed was explicitly confidential anyway. Oh,
At least we now know where the emergency provisions were coming from. Plus, let's go talk to Kurosawa again and see if he... What are you doing?
I presented them with a choice. Either they left or I drew my sword. It turned out to be a real time saver, actually. Perhaps I should start using it more often. Did you manage to track down the treasure hoarders? Everything I said.
That just about sums it up. It turns out that you really were distributing emergency provisions.
Strange. Is that really the... I don't really have any such recollection. Even after all, why was I purchasing emergency provisions for everyone? And why would I put my... But I could not deny that when I brandished my sword to scare those two away, I could sense that my body was somehow reluctant to do so. This sword was once wielded. I remember once when I was young. I wanted to sneak out with the blade. And what did he say? It would seem that I forgot many important things when my vision was taken from me. So many all I can remember now is my father telling me that this blade bore his life's creed before he passed away, and said to me,
Hey, if you look carefully, there seems to be some more. Can you recognize the words?
Virtue? Somehow those two words seem to explain taking on seemingly endless debts to make others happy. I guess that must have been my greatest ambition after. But what use are virtue and justice? I purchased the provisions for those in need, and look how things ended up. The Tenryo Commission seized my vision. And the very people I was so desperately trying to help. And the irony of all of it is, I somehow still felt sorry when threatening them with my blade. I'm incapable of being a good person, yet I'm equally unable to be bad.
Yet another troubled. When we get the chance, let's speak to Toma about Kurosawa's debt. The Yashiro Commission would surely help cover his... In any case, we must never let him sell off that sword. Yeah, seems like losing all ambition is a terrible experience. Fortunately for us, you don't have a vision. Let's go find the next poor soul. The third person who had their vision taken is supposed to be a famous... Paimon heard that he's the present-day master of Meikyo Shisui. This is his dojo. Luckily, there's some people around. Let's go talk to them.
Nanako, don't worry. Sensei will be fine. Those thugs that challenged the dojo were strong, but he fought them all off in the end.
Maybe, but things have gotten dangerous before in the past, but it's never...
It's just because he's been possessed, that's all. Once the exorcism has taken place...
Hey there!
Who are you? I don't care whether you're trespassers or just here to harass us while Sensei is impaired. Get out of... Don't make me draw my blade, or you won't live...
No! You got it so wrong! We just came here to...
Disciples?
Yep. We've heard all about the mighty master of Meikyo Shisui art. It's the whole reason we came all this way. But then we got here and overheard you talking about how he got possessed or something?
From the way you're dressed, it doesn't look pleased. Accept my apologies. We've had so many people trying to cause us trouble recently that we're on high alert. You haven't arrived at the best of times, I'm afraid. Sensei got possessed recently, and he's still recovering. He's not able to take on any new disciples for the time being. I see you are earnest in your pursuit. Okay, how about this? My fellow disciple Nanako and I will explain Sensei's situation. Sensei's name is Domon, a name I'm sure you've already heard. Though self-taught, he mastered the art of the sword to a high level. He then proceeded to defeat many other prominent sword masters, never losing a single fight. He once said that his goal was to become the best sword master in the world. And so, even while training us, he continued to hone his own art. His fervor truly inspired us, and we trained hard, determined to keep up with him. But then...
Not long ago, Sensei had his vision taken away. He hasn't been the same since. He says the strangest things over and over, and he refuses. Junya and I have discussed it, and we both think that he's been possessed by an evil spirit. So we've asked the Shrine Maiden, but if I'm honest, I still have my doubts over...
The Grand Narukami Shrine?
You haven't heard of it? It's the largest shrine on Narukami Island. The head Shrine Maiden is reputed to have very close ties with the almighty Shogun herself. Not that we'd have any means of involving the head Shrine Maiden, of course. But even one of the ordinary shrine maidens from the Grand Narukami Shrine would have clear power and authority to perform an exorcism. So don't worry, Nanako. Sensei is going to... The exorcism will take place this evening. You're both...
So, losing your vision can cause possession?
Shh. So you decided to come. It's a good thing you didn't arrive any early. Just now, when Nanako was attending to him, she heard him whispering a few names to himself. When she asked him who the people were, he suddenly looked panic-stricken. It looked like he was in great distress. He was covering his ears and looking frantically, all the while he kept calling those names. Some of them we knew, others we didn't recognize. But they all seemed to be... One of them was Anzai. He used to be a fellow disciple of Sensei's. His senior, in fact. But Sensei defeated him in a duel. Sensei wouldn't stop calling his name. Thankfully, the shrine maidens managed to subdue him. So the exorcism can finally... The ritual has now begun. All we can do is patiently await the result. Please, excuse me for a moment while I fetch some water. If he wakes up, he is sure to be thirsty.
Huh? Who's that sneaking around? Uh-oh, we won't let them get away with it. Come... Seems they aren't here. Should we keep going further up? Is this definitely the right place? Let's look a little further up. Aha! Suspicious persons!
How did you... Are you sure you're Domon's unless... I guess it's been a few years.
Excuse me? Where and what are you doing sneaking around these parts? You seem...
Bad news? I'll have you know I trained side by side. I don't care to talk about that time anymore. But if you must know, I am...
His senior?
Anzai. Yes, that's me. Because I don't wish to see Domon or anyone else associated with him ever. When we were young, we trained under the same sword master. Studying Make-Yoshi, I had begun training 5 years before him, and everyone looked... Practitioners of Make-Yoshi's Sui art seek to achieve stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. So the majority of disciples are indifferent, but Domon was different. The first thing he did when he joined was go straight to our sensei and ask him, with a beep. Sensei scolded him and told him that the art of the sword should not be used for such vain ends. Sensei said that coveting the title of the best sword master, barely days into his training, showed that he had a fickle... I thought so too at the time. But Domon began making swift progress in his training, and even only then did I realize that it was Domon who had long since freed his mind. He was consumed by his singular desire to become the best in the world. He sought nothing less than perfection in the art of the sword, and nothing could deter him from...
Sure sounds like he meant business. So how come you don't want to...
Because until he arrived, I was convinced that I would succeed our sensei as the master of Make-Yoshi. Of all the disciples, I was the most gifted. I had trained the longest. Everyone had high expectations. Domon's arrival changed everything. When we sparred, I lost not just the match, but my pride and my status too. I fled the dojo. Later, I heard that he sparred with Sensei, too. Sensei was advanced in years by then, and unfortunately, that match used up After that, I wanted nothing further to do with him. Deep down, though, I still respected his mastery of the blade and his commitment to the So, when I heard rumors that he had lost his mind, my first reaction was to dismiss them as false. How could he, of all people, have lost his... I decided to quietly come and see if it were true. Then, to my complete astonishment, I heard him call my name. So you see, I came here not to cause him any harm. I just want... Okay, you've heard my story. You should get...
Seems like we got it wrong this time. He wasn't here to... Still, Paimon's not sure we should bring him back with us. Let's go see how they...
You're saying he isn't possessed? Does that mean he's just lost his mind? But how is that possible? No, I refuse to believe it. Something's clear.
Nanako, please.
I am sorry. With what powers I have, I can find no sign of any malignant spirit. But spirits may take a myriad of forms in this world, many of which I cannot claim to have witnessed myself. Thus, I dare not rule out possession with complete, and all is certainly not lost. For I received word not long ago that Lady Yai has taken an interest in...
Lady Yai? Is that the same...
The head shrine maiden of the Grand Narukami Shrine? That's wonderful news!
Correct. Lady Yai is most knowledgeable indeed, and has abundant I am unable to say for certain whether an evil spirit has possessed your sensei. But...
Excuse me, Miss Inagi, but I must ask, should we prepare a greeting gift for Lady Yai?
That won't be necessary. All that is required of you is your timely arrival at the Grand Narukami Shrine. I must leave now, but we will meet soon at the shrine. I wish Domon a full and speedy recovery.
Who'd have thought Lady Yai herself would have taken note?
Do you mean to say that Sensei isn't renowned enough to deserve Lady Yai's attention?
No, that's not what I meant at all. You misunderstand me. I just mean this is Lady Yai, the head shrine maiden. She has direct and close contact with the almighty... Anyway, you should join us too, tomorrow. Given that you've traveled all this way just to meet our sensei, we, the disciples of Meikyo Shisui Art, will do our best to help you.
Sure! After all, everyone seems pretty excited about Lady Yai. We're curious to meet her Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to find out a thing or two about the Raiden children from her.
I'll keep this close.
Through me, justice is served. Guilty. You stand condemned.
Get out of my way!
Your penance is due.
Fulfill my duty!
Don't be a killjoy! Only just begun! I see through you!
This moment will be frozen.
You can't run! I slipped up. Is it done?
What's this?
Looks like I went too far. Stay right there.
Not breaking a sweat!
Yeah!
No slacking!
Let's end this quickly!
Quickly!
Freeze!
This is
No
bad.
escape!
I guess this is it.
It isn't time for a break yet!
Go, Baron!
Dodge this!
Yeah!
Judgment is upon you. Guilty!
Finished.
I'll keep this close.